Pakistan occupied Gilgit-Baltistan. This is a blockade on Babarloi bypass in Pakistan's Sindh province. This is what just happened in South Waziristan. This is an Indian news update on a fresh blast in Balochistan that killed at least 7 people. These are BJP politicians in India backing the idea of splitting Pakistan into new independent countries. I'm Manish Adhikary. You are watching First Things Fast.
लेकिन पाकिस्तान खंडित होके एक देश बनेगा जिसका नाम होगा बलूचिस्तान, दूसरा देश होगा जिसका नाम होगा पख्तूनिस्तान और तीसरा होगा देश जिसका नाम होगा पंजाब.
Since the April 22 Pahalgam terror attack in Kashmir, Pakistan has witnessed several significant incidents of unrest. On April 24th, the Baloch Liberation Army, or the BLA, carried out multiple attacks in Pakistan's Balochistan province in Zamuran, Kolwa and Kalat districts, killing at least 7 Pakistani army personnel. A day later, the BLA struck again. In Quetta's Margat area, a Pakistani army convoy was hit by a remote-controlled IED, killing 10 soldiers. The BLA claimed responsibility. On April 28th, a bombing targeted a local pro-government peace committee office in Wana in South Waziristan, a former stronghold of the Pakistani Taliban. The powerful blast killed 7 people and wounded 16 others, an act likely executed by the Pakistani Taliban or a group that is popularly known as the TTP. Meanwhile, Baloch civil society groups continue to agitate for human rights. On April 29th, the BYC or the Baloch Yakjeti Committee announced peaceful demonstrations under the banner Making the Disappeared Appear Resisting Baloch Genocide. The protests, set to take place outside Deputy Commissioners' offices across Balochistan, aim to demand justice for thousands of missing Baloch persons believed to be victims of enforced disappearances. Meanwhile, here in Gilgit-Baltistan, hundreds of residents of Sugar district protested against the proposed Mines and Minerals Bill on April 28, 2025. Demonstrators here accused the Pakistani army and the government of attempting to seize local lands and mineral resources without their consent. Chanting slogans like Kabze par Kabza na Manzoor, they demanded recognition of indigenous ownership rights over natural resources. Meanwhile, in Sindh, right about here, widespread protests had been taking place since mid-April against the federal government's plan to construct 6 new canals on the Indus River. Lawyers, civil society groups and nationalist parties argue that the project threatens Sindh's water resources. The Babarloi Dharna, a sit-in protest at the Babarloi bypass, blocked the national highway, disrupting traffic between Sindh and Punjab. This blockade forced manufacturers to halt production due to raw material shortages, and port authorities warned of an impending congestion crisis. Several BJP politicians, meanwhile, have bluntly asserted that Pakistan's internal strife will lead to its breakup. For example, BJP MP Discontent predicted that Pakistan will cease to exist as a country and will be divided into 4 distinct parts by the end of 2025, including Balochistan, Pakhtunistan and Punjab. Such rhetoric frames the Baloch insurgency and other anti-state movements in Pakistan as signs of an approaching Bangladesh 1971-like outcome. In fact, Goa's Chief Minister Pramod Sawant, also from the BJP, drew that exact parallel. Sawant asserted that Pakistan is on the verge of splitting into 2, with Balochistan pushing for independence, and he reassured crowds that India's Prime Minister would 100% take revenge on Pakistan for the Pahalgam terror attack. Today, Pakistan is not just battling insurgents in Balochistan, protesters in Sindh or angry crowds in Gilgit-Baltistan. It's also drowning in an economic crisis so deep that its foreign reserves can barely cover a few weeks of imports. Inflation is crushing families. Political instability is brewing under the surface, and after the Pahalgam terror attack, it's now staring at a full-blown diplomatic standoff with India. Which raises the real question: if elements of the Pakistani state were indeed involved in Pahalgam, why would they choose to poke the bear now? Some experts say it's classic diversion. When a state's grip at home weakens, the easiest distraction is an external enemy. Others believe it's desperation, a last-ditch attempt to rally nationalism before everything falls apart. Either way, what we're watching is not just another India-Pakistan flashpoint. It could well be the early tremors of something much bigger, the slow, visible unraveling of the Pakistani state. I'm Manish Adhikary. Thank you for watching First Things Fast.